Uh, damn. Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushua, Ba'Shem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Royal Well. And Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of Syrian truth. Yeah. Found this article and it was telling of the times. And it really shows how everything's just being degraded, man. All it, like, you're witnessing it anyway. If you're paying attention to the news, you're paying attention to the mindset and what's being pushed out by society at large as as acceptable. You've seen there's been a degradation on all levels of this society, man. It's basically glorifying wickedness, glorifying evil, glorifying darkness, man. And then you're seeing the result of that, man. It says what? The love of money is a root of all evil. And that's one of the core tenets of this society, capitalism, where it's like basically anything's acceptable as long as it's making money, which is was enjoy. It's like Esau's elite; they enjoy that, but then the Edomites on the bottom that are being utilized, they're the ones that are upset and kicking up a fuss, man. Everything's basically just being brought to a new low. So it's what brink of fertility crisis. Scientist says plummeting sperm counts caused by everyday products. This is something I can't remember if I did a video on it or not, but I read something about before where it's like basically microplastics. I think I did do a video on it. Microplastics. What was it? Microplastics. What do you call it? They're basically just having an impact on like sperm counts and whatnot, and that's another factor into why masculinity is shriveling and ceasing to exist. So it says what a 40-year-long study showed sperm counts had dropped by nearly half. Dr. Shanna Swan hypothesizes men will no longer produce sperm by 2045, and this, that's not even well, you ain't gonna be here in no 2045. But as far as for like Esau's system, wouldn't even make it that far, man. Everything's is amping up and increasing the intensity of just the level of destruction it's bringing. And as well, anyway, with these elites, it's on the Georgia Guidestones. Maintain humanity under 500 million. And every one of these elites always talks about, oh, there's overpopulation, there's too many people having kids, people should adopt, blah blah blah. That's they're desirous of minimizing the amount of people being born. So it says you've probably heard of someone who struggled with infertility. Maybe you even know a couple who had treatment to help them have a baby. Fertility issues are pretty common, and new research shows we could actually be on the brink of a fertility crisis. Dr. Shanna Swan, an environmental and reproductive epidemiologist at Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Imagine that. Found sperm counts have plummeted over the last 4 decades. The journey into parenthood has been long and tedious for Sindel and Chris Serdeval. They started trying to have a baby 4 years ago. When they were both in their late 20s, they struggled to try and conceive and resorted to in vitro fertilization. They experienced several failed treatments and a miscarriage. When you decide you're ready to have a family, it doesn't happen. It starts to become this obsession, and when you just kind of lose the joy of, and then you just kind of lose the joy of your everyday life. The Cerdevals were diagnosed with unexplained infertility when doctors can't determine the specific reason a couple is struggling to conceive. And the thing is with these things, this is something you go back to time of the forefathers. Hey, the Lord has these things on under control, man. He'll basically be like, okay, it's getting limited or it's getting increased. And that's why you have situations like Sarah, where with Isaac, she was hella up in age, but the Lord opened up the womb, and had it bear fruit. Remember, even shit. There was something I saw online. It was just saying that's like the size of an egg, like the eggs that women have inside their ovaries. Like it was showing the size of an egg, and the shit is fucking absolutely minuscule. It's actually nuts. But from that, that's a whole ass human being is born. And this is kind of the wonders of what the Lord can do, man. Because that's why it's like you have um like with the fertility thing, the Lord really has that under control to where He can open up or close up the womb, and that's why it's like, hey, if you're having trouble, then it's likely the Lord had that happen, man. Because the whole process is you can read in the scriptures, man. There's multiple times where it's like, hey, the womb just gets opened up or not, man, or sealed. Hannah's another example with Samuel. Like with even the child not surviving, which is something that happened to Hela during the Dark Ages when Jake was in power. You had King David, the first child he had with Bathsheba, when he basically committed adultery with her. So the Lord basically has these things in basically under His own control. So okay, unexplained fertility, and that's why for Esau it's a mystery, but it comes down to, hey, whether the Lord desires it or not. Because yeah, you can have people that are just completely disconnected from any. They're not doing any form of what's the word? Like treatments or whatever. In a a situation where it might have actually been extremely rare, but then it's like the Lord just have it happen. So it says 20% of the couples we see on average have what we call unexplained fertility. No, infertility, said Dr. Seltzer. Man said 20%. Fucking hell. So it's essentially that means that Esau don't know what the hell is. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's the Lord basically giving a pass or not. 20% of the couples we see on average have what we call unexplained infertility. So Dr. Celso Silva, the medical director at Shady Grove Fertility and the Certival's doctor. Infertility is on the rise, with at least 1 in 10 couples struggling to get pregnant in the US. Age is a major factor as far as the reproductive potential of any people. The age of the female partner, yeah, because they call it what's the word? A thingy pregnancy, man. Geriatric pregnancy when it's over 35. Because women's fertility, like them eggs, there's like with women's fertility, it's like a limited amount of eggs, and then once they're done, and like that's a wrap, and that's when you get like menopause. That's why they'll stop their cycle because there's no purpose to it after that. Age is a major factor. Yeah, so it says according to the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, advanced maternal age refers to women aged 35 and older. The term is intended to highlight the increased risk of complications that can occur, such as difficulty conceiving, miscarriage, and birth defects. More than age, the age factor is pretty well known, especially among women who seem to be reminded of their ticking clock from relatives, friends, or strangers at some point in their lives. Yeah, because you can't like I don't know what like but that's just the completely wicked mindset that's taken over, where it's like women are meant to just be running around. Well, that's that birth control, which is That and women that talk about being on birth control say how fucking jacked up they feel when they're on it, which shows that it's completely averse to how they're meant to be. But for them to live this wicked lifestyle, that's that's what they utilize. So this is what they get reminded of a ticking clock, because yeah, you got a certain amount of time in which you can do these things. But then Esau's got, in the Western society, they just push women to go out and do, get jobs, essentially give like invest in Esau and his system, rather than in in the household, in the unit the Lord set up, where you have the man and the woman joins into his house, bears him children, and guides the house. That's the purpose they're meant to have. Esau's essentially just perverted that and made it so they're just going off, taking on masculine roles in society. And then that just is, well, if you're gonna come to have kids later on, of course it ain't gonna be happening. But there's multiple factors tying into this, and it's why, because it's showing everything is going into that degraded state, man. Everything's been destroyed. However, new research shows infertility rates could be rising because sperm counts are dropping, and that's true as well. That's possible, because yeah, sperm counts have been hella dropping. But it's just overall just the general degradation of society. Because why? The spirit was on America to have us run for a season. It's done, man. It's time's up. Like it says, when I set down that's among the stars, then events when I bring you down. From the 70s, like 1969. From then on, it's been a steady decline in this place, monetarily, morally, in the even the physique of the people. You go back to like the 60s and 70s, like the people in way better shape. Like that food, everything is just annihilated. Like obesity among kids is an epidemic. Like it shows the whole society is done, man. Time's up. Says all we can do is no. All we can say is it has significantly declined with no indication that the rate is slowing down," said Swan, a reproductive epidemiologist who spent years studying male sperm counts. The research found sperm counts have dropped by half in the last 4 decades. In 1973, the average ejaculate had 99 million sperm per milliliter. By 2011, the average ejaculate had 47 million sperm per milliliter. And not just the amount of sperm, they had to be shaped well, explained Swan, who described the upstream swim sperm had to travel for conception to occur. In her new book Countdown, Swan says, based on the current curve, sperm counts could be down to 0 by 2045. Yeah, which I mean that's obviously not going to happen, because the Lord said, well, it's men are gonna continue. It's just a matter of in the society anyway. And I think these numbers are based on studies are based on in the States. I don't think it's global anyway. But it just shows in America, Babylon the Great, according to the Bible, the spirit's been taken off. It's done. It's sealed. All that grandeur is gone. Even something as basic as just having a family unit, that's a struggle. Like you can't even have kids. Like it's a mess. It's not even just the women being in complete disarray and complete disorder. Spirits come off the men as well. Them sperm counts going down, which is affecting, like, obviously testosterone and all that. See what it says. So it says the lifestyle factor. There are already a number of habits researchers have long established that deplete one's sperm count. Swan says certain occupations, like people who manufacture pesticides, have been shown to have zero sperm, along with men who work with lead. Yes, of certain products. And these things used to be, well, even pesticides are still among hella food. Anyway, Like that's unless, even if it's organic, I think there's still organic pesticides, which, can fucking destroy you. Oh man, I completely forgot. Okay, yeah, yeah. Um, Along with many work with lead, other factors contributing to low sperm counts include smoking, binge drinking, obesity, and stress. And just those four alone, it's you see why this this is a thing. Smoking is that shit. Imagine it was revealed, oh, smoking kills. It's been on every box. That shit's still selling. And they said there's been a decline, but people still smoke, and vaping's still a thing as well. And no one really knows what impact vaping has. They ain't really done any studies or anything. They're just, because why? Same thing with smoking, where they just pushed it as a thing to do, um, just to make money. It was a business. Same thing with vaping. It's like, now, okay, yeah, da da da, fucks with this instead. It's healthier, blah blah blah, based on nothing. So that says what Swan says. A certain occupant deplete one sperm count. Hold on. No, okay, yeah, yeah. So drinking, binge drinking, which that's a culture. In the US, in the UK, that shit is normal as fuck. To binge drink. Well, I think more Western cultures, because I know Germany does it similarly. Uh, any kind of metropolitan area, that's gonna be a thing that goes on. And yeah, like I said, it's a culture out here. Like, and what was it? Obesity and stress. Obesity, I mentioned it earlier. Obesity is something that's gone on. I think it's like the what's it even? I think like 60%. Something absurd in the US anyway. Obesity is like mad common. I think it was 80%, and then of the 80%, there's like maybe 60 or 40 that are obese. So it's like overweight, and then 80% overweight, and then I think like a portion of that, the lion's share of that is obese. So it's a wrap. And stress anyway. Everyone's all been stressed, not just counting the previous year's events, but stress just from the lifestyle. Esau makes living life a stress. You got bills. You got to worry, like the family situation is gonna be a mess. There's always gonna be family drama. Work's gonna be stressful. Your boss is gonna be stressing you. Depending on all form and factors of things are gonna basically gonna be weighing on your mind. Just talking about the average motherfucker out here. So, you can see why, and these things have increased over time, because mainly it's the elites have chipped away at, the kind of normalcy, the kind of a just regular lifestyle you meant to have, and all these things have just been chipped away. Being able to just go out and be like, okay, you can be broke, have no education, nothing, go out somewhere, learn some skill, learn some craft, and then make something yourself within like 10, 15 years. That shit's gone out the window. That used to be possible in America. That American dream, to some extent, was possible, because you could make something of yourself rather easily. Now it's gone. Now you're gonna be working. You're gonna be on the bottom. Working for crumbs, and then obviously having a stressful ass lifestyle along with that. You might have, if you have a family, then you're gonna have stress about being able to bring enough money, dealing with them, keeping your woman happy, your kids getting up to madness as well, making sure they don't end up a fucking drug dealing or crack fiend or a prostitute or something, man. All these things are gonna impact, but it shows, hey, this place is at its end, man. It's all a wrap. Second Edge 5, um, 52. Oh, well, let's start 51. He answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature? Yeah, because it's you can talk to people that are from previous generations. They'll say, yeah, then the guy is now not built with the same stuff. That's why people say like, oh, you need a war, you need this to kind of get get the same kind of attitude, because now you can tell. You talk to people from those older generations, it's different. Even going back just 1-2 generations, like you'll see a shift. Because why? It's there's been a weakening through the generations, man. And this is going back into ancient times, uh, like after in the time of the what do you call it? It would have been the Babylonians, I believe, when this was going down. Like from way back, from the golden head of the statue, from way back when, thousands of years ago. Even then, men would have been of lesser stature, and now it's like you can go back to the time of Moses. It said what it took 2 strong men to carry a bunch of grapes. So now is a time where a bunch of a child can carry a bunch of grapes. Like they are absolutely diminished, and that shows that them generations, it's a wrap, man. Everything's been decayed and degraded, which is why you have, when you go, I mentioned the golden head, you go through the statue, it goes from what, the golden head, I think the silver arms and chest, the bronze, is it bronze? Stomach, and then iron legs, and then iron and miry clay for the feet. So it degrades in the material, and it's like the iron's harder than the gold, which is that military might. But then what? It's less. It's more. It's a more common. It's not as precious of a metal as the gold. So it's like the quality has gone down, and that's what's happened with society. Quality's gone down. It says what? And she will answer thee, they that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age when the womb faileth are otherwise. Yeah, even when the womb faileth. So that's what mentioned as well, saying like the older in age pregnancies. Because I remember I watched a TED talk, some woman talking about how she was struggling I think she decided to have kids when she was 41, something hella up in age. And it was like, I think she got one child, like after she had hella miscarriage. Like the amount of miscarriages was absolutely absurd. But like I think it was over 10. But she got one child out of it, and then she wanted another, and it was just. But then that's because she's been fed the lie of just going out and living life and doing whatever, and then she gets to 40, and it's like trying to jump through fucking burning hoops to get that to get a child out, which is that's why everything's out of course, man. I remember like, bruv, I don't know when. Remember in the 90s, you ain't hear about no fucking IVF. Like you hear about IVF all the time. Like that shit's been normalized as fuck. It's because everything's decaying, man. Everything's wasting away. Therefore, no, consider thou therefore also how that ye are of less stature than those that were before you, and so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creatures which now begin to be old and have passed over the strength of youth. Then say I, Lord, I beseech thee, if I have found favour in thy sight, show thy servant by whom thou visitest thy creature. Yeah. The stature's diminishing, man. Generation after generation. That's why it's like you can see, even going back to the time of like 100 years back, 200 years back, 500 years back, completely different stature. I remember we went to visit one of the castles. What was it? Corfu Castle, and there was a guy in there who was saying even the food. He was talking about the food. He said they had seeds that went back from like medieval times, like 800. Well, I think it was like 600-700 years ago, and it was like the level of nutrients that you would get from the food, the size of it, the quality was higher. And he said like the people as well. He said like there was a march that was done where they marched on foot, fully armored, like in a matter of days from one part of the country to the other. And it's like people tried to do it in modern days with like modern equipment and weren't able to do it because it was that intense of an ordeal. So it just shows there was a completely different quality. He was saying the poundage of the bows, like the amount of pounds when you pull the string, was on a higher level because they were able to shoot arrows from like a distance where in a modern day men are just not capable of doing. So it's you can see the complete and total uh degradation of of just men upon the earth, man. And that's, until the time of the end. uh what was I looking for? It was no flesh left to be saved. Therefore, no flesh left to be saved. I'm just early on. Contour pass. I was like, yeah. And then shall I betray one of okay, and so now will come. One second with child. Oh, okay, yeah. Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Yeah. So, she said that the sperm count could just go to zero by 2043 or 45, something like that. And like, hey, that's just keeping it at the rate at which it's been going. But it's really, yeah, it says what? Except the days are shortened, no flesh will be saved, man. Everything would be completely destroyed. This is why, and that's how Esau deals with the world, man. Just destruct, nothing but death and destruction is what he visits, man, onto the people, onto the land. That's why I said what the seed is gonna rejoice. The trees are gonna rejoice. Cause why? Cause no fellas come upon them. They've been oppressed as well by pollution, by just Esau going out and just chopping them all up. All these different, it's everything's decaying, man, and wasting away. And it would result in everyone just dying if this man was left to his own devices, man. But that's why, the Lord's essentially gonna have to end it for why? For the elect's sake, man. For His word's sake, because he's promised unto Israel that certain things probably shall share, what he would receive. So these things are gonna come to pass, man. But yeah, leave it there. Shalom, Yavashim, Kakadash Bakta.